This is Angie Homoelle. I'm the coordinator of the Caregiver Assistance Network at Catholic Charities, Southwestern Ohio. And we're here today. We have a couple guest speakers here today to talk to us about caregiving during COVID-19. And so you can find more of our programs and information on our website at www.ccswh.org. Or if you have any caregiving questions or need any help, you can call us at 513-869-4483. Today, we're going to talk specifically about long-term care and some resources that are available for us as caregivers during this time, and kind of what's been going on in terms of long-term care. To help us with that, we have Bob Vines, Managing Ombudsman for Pro Seniors, and Lisa Kruse with the Council on Aging. And so Lisa's going to talk first. She's going to tell us a little bit about the Council on Aging, the work they're doing, and some resources that we have. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lisa.
Thanks, Angie. I am, as Angie said, with the Council on Aging, and today I just want to answer one major question for you, and that is, what does the Council on Aging do? Well, the simple answer is that we work hard every day to keep older adults living in their homes as independently as possible for as long as possible. So we focus on in-home care. I'm going to tell you a little bit about us as an overview, and then I'll get into the caregiving resources that we have. We like to think of ourselves as the front door to services for seniors and for those people who are caretaking and loving them. In addition to the help that we provide older adults, we also are we have a strong connection to information and resources for things such as housing or long-term care options. We're part of a national network. We have been designated by the state as the Area Agency on Aging for Southwest Ohio. There are 12 of us in Ohio and more than 600 nationwide. We have more than 40 years experience. We are a nonprofit. As a matter of fact, we're one of the largest nonprofits in our region, and we are not a government agency, as some people think we are. We cover 5 counties in our region. We have Butler, Clinton, Claremont, Hamilton, and Warren. Eligibility for our programs and services, which I'll talk a little bit later about our programs and services. The eligibility differs in each county a little bit, and I don't know all of the details on that. Some counties require you to be 60 or above, and some are 65. However, in each county, the programs and services are the same. Because of the pandemic that we are currently under, our help looks a little different. And we are still, even though we look a little different, we are still doing everything we can to support the independence and well-being of older adults in our region and our service area. One example of our coronavirus help is through food. When things are tough, we realize that food quickly becomes a very, very important thing to people. Seniors were and are simply afraid to go out to get food. So in realizing that, we have delivered thousands and thousands of food boxes to people, whether they are COA clients or not, just some people who have called and asked for help. We've had thousands of food boxes delivered and care packages, which include toilet paper and hand sanitizer and paper towels and wipes. We also have partnerships with local restaurants to deliver meals throughout the city. And we're going to do this on an ongoing basis. We continue to provide our help, and we've been working with the local health department and the Ohio Department of Aging to ensure the well-being of our older neighbors. Now I'd like to briefly mention our programs and services. We have 2 different types, general categories of programs and services. One, you're eligible for Medicaid, and one, you're not eligible for Medicaid. If you are eligible, there's the Passport Program, the Assisted Living Waiver, and others. If you're not Medicaid eligible, there's the Elderly Services Program in Hamilton, Clinton, Butler, and Warren counties. There's also the Fast Track Home Program via ESP, the Elderly Services Program, which puts you on the fast track for getting meals and services at your home after you've been in the hospital or a nursing home. So it helps with the transition there. The list of in-home services that we provide is very, very long, but some of the highlights, we do provide home delivered meals, light housekeeping, help with errands, personal care, medical equipment and supplies, and transportation to medical appointments. One thing to note, during this pandemic, we have definitely provided appropriate PPE, which is personal protection equipment, as you may or may not know, masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, to all of our providers who do the in-home care. And we hold them to strict standards on cleanliness, so you can be assured that the environment is as safe as it possibly can be. Activities of daily living, known as ADLs, are used to determine which program is the right one for the older adult. An ADL is something that a person does as part of their day, whether it be housekeeping, cooking, bathing, or getting dressed. Typically, to be a part of the program, any one of the programs, typically you would need help with 2 ADLs. But all it takes is one call to our Aging and Disability Resource Center to the phone number that you see on the screen. And you will be connected with someone who will be able to explain each program and determine your need. There are many facets to all of our programs, and I would encourage you not to get bogged down in the details, but to let us handle that. Just all you have to do is tell us your situation, tell us your story, and we will determine the rest. On a personal note, I want to mention that about 10 years ago, my mother-in-law, who was 80 at the time, had suffered a heart attack. And as she was being sent home from the hospital, the discharge nurse suggested Council on Aging to see what kind of support that Council on Aging could provide. Because of that suggestion, and because my mother-in-law called, she was able to receive housekeeping services and a life alert button that she was able to wear every day. And she was very, very thankful for those services, and it just meant the world to her. So now I'd like to talk and focus a little bit on caregiving. Many times you guys are called on to give the caregiving. That means you might be going to doctor's appointments. You might have to take off work. You are putting the needs of your own families aside, and you may be burning the candle at both ends. Many times, caregivers do not identify themselves as being a caregiver. In their mind, they're simply doing what needs to be done as a friend or a spouse or a child. Caregiving can be rewarding with strengthened relationships, with feelings of accomplishment. However, it can also be challenging and exhausting. We can help. We are set up through our caregiver support program to give caregivers relief. Our caregiver support program offers emotional support, respite care to give you a break, connection to support resources, and training opportunities so you can help your loved one as much as possible. We have a dedicated caregiver support nurse. Her name is Anna Gubeau, and the program is completely free. To qualify, all you have to do is be 60 or older and live in our 5-county region. The older adult is 60 or older, or that you're taking care of someone who is 60 or older. And incidentally, there's no age requirement for those caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia. So during this time, assessments by Anna, the caregiver nurse, would normally be done in person. However, now things are being done over the phone. So you can have a one-on-one conversation with her and again, tell her the situation, and she will do the best she can to help you with any resources that she can find. So what I would encourage you to do is go through our website, just explore our website at helpforseniors.org, which you see on the screen there, and call our Aging and Disability Resource Center at the phone number you see there, 721-1025, and you'll choose option 2. And again, that's the Council on Aging at 721-1025. I also have a brochure that I can email you if you are interested in finding out more information, or just having something to hold in your hands. That would be great. So with that, I thank you for your time and attention today. And Bob, I think you're next.
My name is Bob Vines. I'm the Managing Ombudsman at Pro Seniors. First, I'll let you know what Pro Seniors is, and then I'll tell you what an Ombudsman does. Pro Seniors has primarily is a legal assistance agency. We take calls from all over the state of Ohio for anybody over the age of 60 who may have a legal issue that they want to discuss with a lawyer, and we can set up free consultations, and then they can get legal advice about whatever that issue is. We have some other programs here, of course, as well. We have the Senior Medicare Patrol program, which has a group of volunteers, again, throughout the state that educate seniors on scams and Medicare fraud issues. Now, the Ombudsman program is a third leg of the Pro Seniors advocacy, and we are advocates for folks that live in long-term care settings. Now, that includes nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and adult care homes, are residential care facilities with folks that have some mental health issues. So there are specific rights that protect residents because, of course, they're at risk for abuse and neglect, and those rights are in Ohio law and federal law for the nursing home folks as well. So we operate within those laws, advocating that facilities protect and promote resident rights. We have all kinds of complaints, and complaints can come from anywhere. They come, again, from families, sons, daughters, sisters, brothers, and the residents themselves. But our primary role is to advocate for what the resident themselves wants. And sometimes we help the family work through what that is, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is consistent with the wishes of the resident. Now, we work in conjunction with a lot of agencies, including, of course, the Council on Aging. We refer folks to them all the time. In fact, we have the same operating counties that we work in, the 5 counties that Lisa had mentioned. So we will, when we receive a call, we will go out and see the resident wherever they may be, or we used to before COVID. We still try to do that virtually. Determine what they want, advocate for the resolution of that issue. We will often work with the Ohio Department of Health, which is the regulatory agency that licenses nursing facilities and assisted living facilities. And if we need to, I sometimes say that we're the good cop. We're not regulatory, but we do have the right to be in facilities and to, or we did, and we may yet. That is the hope and the plan is to get back in the facilities. We haven't been in for the last 3 months, but we will probably be doing that very shortly. Our work has changed dramatically, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic. Back in March, we were still going out to facilities in early March. And when the COVID started to hit, we were making sure that facilities were doing what they were supposed to do, posting signs, reminding folks of the infection control precautions, making sure they had the PPE they needed, and if they didn't, we'd help them get it, sometimes through the Council on Aging or other agencies that had it. But in late March, visitation was closed. Now, the Ombudsman program is considered, we are considered government representatives. We have never actually been restricted from going in per se, but we have, as a policy, chosen statewide to not make those visits and put folks at risk for COVID. Because as you know, someone might be feeling just fine and yet be contagious and infectious. So we have not been going in, but we started in April doing virtual visits and utilizing technology such as this type of meeting to talk with residents, to make virtual visits, see what's going on inside the building to the best of our ability. And we started to do that. But in May, our volunteers got very active too. We have a large volunteer program as well. So they started writing letters to residents, especially those that may not have family, just to let them know that we're here and that we're listening. They started calling family members. We got family lists from the facility, started calling family members to see if they could tell us what they knew about what might be going on. Not being able to actually see, to smell, to hear what's going on inside a building has been a big change in the way that we advocate for folks. So we needed information, and we tried to get it the best way that we could by interviewing folks and doing what we could, seeing inside with the virtual visits. Now in June, as many of you know, the assisted living facilities opened up outside visitation, and we actually made appointments to visit at the facilities as if we were a family member. We asked the facilities to provide us with residents that wanted to see an ombudsman, residents that might not ordinarily get a visit from family members. And we had a very good visit. The residents were very happy to see someone come and listen to them, because that's been one of our, major complaints, is that, the families and the residents aren't being listened to. There's all these rules and laws coming down that they feel they have no say in. So we made sure that their voices were heard, and we are continuing to do that. Now, as you know, on July 20th, the nursing homes will open up too. So with that, I know every facility has to write a policy that governs how those visits will be conducted. They have different schedules at different times, and every facility does things differently. That has been an issue, of course. There's the governor's order restricting visitation, but the interpretation and implementation of that has varied greatly and widely. One of the issues that we had early on, of course, was who could get in at say, an end of life situation. That again, has been interpreted differently. We know that this has been very tough on residents, very tough on families, not having that contact that they're normally used to. There have been situations, for instance, where we know families were a big part of the caregiving team and helped during meals and that sort of thing. So when they withdrew from visitation, the resident declined as a result. Lost weight, became depressed and isolated. Maybe exacerbated other conditions that they already had. So we have advocated, and successfully, for people to get in under those kinds of situations. Of course, facilities are there's a whole spectrum of facilities that will cooperate and facilities that won't cooperate. So that's where our advocacy is headed. We try to make sure that there's that people are getting in who need these compassionate caregiving visits. They're not end of life situations necessarily, but they're aimed at preventing someone to getting to the end of life, perhaps. So if somebody is declining, having lost weight, perhaps, or there's been a mental status change of some type, maybe getting family in at that point in time would prevent it from getting to an end of life situation. That's what we believe, and we've been advocating for that. So of course, to do that, we keep in contact with our state office, and they are in contact every day with the governor's office and with the director's office of the Department of Aging, and have been advocating sort of behind the scenes for the doors to open. And the nursing homes are going to open on July 20th. We'll get to see what happens then. I think the next step for the Ombudsman program is actually to go back inside as doing our job, seeing what's going on inside the building. And I'm anxious, and we'll be happy to do that. So if you're curious, of course, our Ombudsman helpline number is posted there. Anybody can call us. As I said, many folks do, and we will talk to them about what their loved one wants and see if we can advocate for a happy resolution. So with that, I will be glad to answer any questions anybody has, and thank you for being here today.
Great. Thank you both. If you don't mind, I have a couple questions that I think are probably maybe universal that maybe you could address real quick before we stop the recording. The one I have, Lisa, if you could address maybe anything about adult day. Adult days have been closed for a while, and a lot of our caregivers are struggling at home because they don't have that resource. So maybe, do you have any suggestions for folks? Do you have any insight as to maybe who's working on that, or is there anybody at the state level advocating for the adult days to open?
Well, unfortunately, Angie, I can't answer all of those specifics. I do know that it's been devastating for many people that the adult day centers have been closed. We know that combating isolation is a very hot topic right now. So we have information on our website, specifically talking about combating isolation. We have an Adopt a Senior program where volunteers conduct wellness calls to seniors and saying, hey, how are you? How's it going? Just to have someone else to talk to. But as far as the adult day, I know that's devastating. It often provides, respite care in itself. Just to have the older adult be engaged somewhere that would help them, and the caregiver is not 100% on. So I completely understand that. We hear that challenge, and we're all working through that.
Great, thanks. And the Adopt a Senior program, can you reside? Does it matter where you reside? Like if somebody is in long-term care, can they get a call?
I believe that is the case. I will have to check on that and get back to you.
Okay, great. Thanks. And then Bob, my question for you, I guess, is just if you could real quick, can anybody call? And I know that some of the things that you talked about as far as helping people get in to visit people who are declining, that's a huge theme we've been hearing in our support groups as well, is people worried about their loved ones who are in long-term care, and they're calling them and they're losing weight. Like you said, they're just not responding. They're depressed. And so, what do you recommend? Just people call and see what you guys can do, or?
Well, I don't want to leave anyone with the impression that we can somehow lift the governor's order. It is in place, but we do believe there are certain situations, and of course, everybody will want to believe that their family member falls into that situation. But certainly, anybody can call us and we can talk about it. The situations where we have been successful in getting people in to visit have been those. Folks that weren't necessarily in the act of dying, but were certainly suffering. And we could draw a direct correlation because their family member was not able to be there and help to provide the compassionate care that they needed. That's not every case. And unfortunately, there are many, many, many people who are frustrated, as you mentioned, because they have no idea what's going on. Frankly, that's been my big concern. We haven't been able to get into buildings, and we don't really know what we will find when we get inside. I know that the nursing homes, by and large, are certainly doing the very best that they can, but these are difficult situations. And staffing has been hit hard by COVID as well, as the resident population. So you have, I know many people are calling us because they just can't even get someone to answer the phone at a nursing home. That's been very frustrating. So, anybody can call. We can talk through the situation and see. I can't promise that we'd be successful in every situation of getting someone in to visit, but we'd certainly try to see what we could do to talk to the residents and the family members and educate them about what they can do. With the assisted living facilities opening up outside visitation and the nursing homes doing outside visitation starting July 20th, that may relieve a lot of this. Certainly, we want folks to, if they can, rely on technological visitation, like the FaceTime or these kinds of meetings. It's difficult for people with dementia, for instance, because they don't really, they have trouble, perceiving laptop pictures and things like that. And window visits have been hard for them. You can call and we will be glad to talk to them. The call and any activity we do is going to be about mom or dad or whoever the resident is, but we will find out what the family needs to know to help them. Please feel free to call.
Thank you both for joining us, helping us record today. Just going to remind everybody, we have more programs like this all month long. We have some virtual support groups going on right now. Visit our website for a calendar, and we'll see you next time.